Well, today we're going to do a meal prep, the entire meal prep from start to finish. This is basically meal prep for beginner, so nothing complicated. Basically, we're doing two salad, one rice salad, one mango salad. We're also going to be doing a little bit of a potage. We're going to be doing it with leeks and basically what we call poireau and sweet potato. That's also going to be fairly easy. So we're looking at two main salad, one potage, one as we can say a soup, and that's going to be basically it for the next hour. So the concept is very simple. I've been asked what's the main key to get healthy. Well, it's very simple. So whatever you put into your mouth, it's actually what your body's going to look like. So it's important to make sure the food that you eat is actually extremely good for yourself. So if you're new at meal prep, if you haven't done much meal prep before, if you don't really know why you're doing it, well, stick around for the next hours and I'll try to explain to you exactly what you need to do this. Obviously, for the meal prep, what I like to do is start by cleaning all my veggies, everything that I know I cleaned up, all that together. Total meal prep time for me to do what you've seen is about an hour 30, 35. That's including obviously cleaning up all the vegetables and getting them ready as you see them. Obviously, the video is only an hour and seven. That's normal. I didn't want you guys to spend 20 minutes looking at my back or looking at my ass while I'm cooking stuff on the stove or throwing things in the garbage. Generally, when I do my meal prep, I try to clean my bowls and stuff like that as I go. So when I'm done, I don't have another 10, 15 minutes of cleaning up. But anyway, as we got all the veggies to cut. Very simple, two recipes. You can have your iPad beside you and just have your list of ingredients. Or if that's the case of the mango salad, it's on it's on the YouTube channel. So you're just looking at the YouTube channel and then the list of ingredients is there. So you can have that on your iPad right beside you. That basically tells you on what goes what. So on one side we have the mango salad. On the other side we have the rice salad. So obviously I got celery going in both salad. So I'm going to cut the celery as I need them for both salad at the same time. So I'll have the two bowls of salad getting ready so I can mix all my ingredients together. So for the celery for the rice salad, as an example, I'm using one celery for the rice salad. So I'll cut that up right away. And then I know I'm using 3 to 4 celery for the mango salad. So I can cut that right away. So that's where you save time when you're doing meal prep. If you can actually cut all your veggies in bulk, it's a lot easier for you. It's a lot faster also. When you're looking at the big scale of thing, you're trying to save time, you're trying to save money. So it's important to get all your stuff done all together. So the mango salad probably has more ingredients than the rice salad. So it's a lot more cutting time. Cutting time is good because remember, anything that you do, it's it's to go into your salad, and then you save a lot of money too. For the rice salad, I'll use balsamic rice, pretty well one of the best rice for energy, long-lasting energy. So I'll use that up and I'll put that into the bowl. If you're looking for a good rice salad, obviously on the YouTube channel, there's one there. So when you're thinking about meal prep, you're thinking about the entire week. What am I gonna want to eat on the Monday? What am I gonna want to eat on the Tuesday? And what kind of salad is gonna last till Thursday and Friday? Keep in mind, if you're doing all of this on Saturday afternoon, it's gonna last for a full week. So, as example, if you're gonna have a rice salad, that's probably gonna last longer than your mango salad. Well, you're probably gonna eat your mango salad on the Monday, Tuesday kind of deal, maybe the Wednesday, but you'll keep your rice salad for the Thursday, Friday. So in my case, as you see when I started, I put 2 chicken legs. Generally I'll do chicken breasts, but chicken legs that this week are in special. They were 88 cents a pound. So I'll use the chicken leg instead. 2 chicken legs, that's going to be for my 2 salad that are going to be doing a bit later on in the week. So if you notice, I'm going to be using green onion on those 2 salad. Simple. I like the green onions. One thing that I like about those green onions is they seem to last a little longer throughout the week, so they'll keep their flavor a bit longer in the week. As you'll notice, I'm not cutting any of my veggies or anything very, very fine. I'm kind of keeping everything a bit in the larger pieces, and that's kind of because I kind of like it a bit larger piece for me. So depending on what you like, if you're doing for like meal prep like that, and then you are doing a lot, cut in larger piece. It's the same thing. Same thing with the carrots. I use the bigger carrots. Um, it's one of those things. They're a lot harder to cut, and they're a bit messier to cut, but it's a lot easier for me because I only have one or two to peel, and then that also goes a bit faster. So you not only by meal prepping like this, a lot of people say, well, it's a lot easier for me to order a meal already pre-packaged in a box from a company that sells meal in box. Well, if you're looking at everything and the time that it takes you to open the box, all the packaging, because you still need to assemble all of this. If you're looking at all of that and you're adding, let's say, my meal prep, the one that I've just done now, the video itself is 107. It's real time, so I didn't cut anything. I didn't mess anything up. I've took out all the time that I was actually on the stove, actually cooking things. But that's about, like I said, it's an hour 7. That's about 23 minutes of that, and another 15 minutes for the cleaning up. So total, an hour 40, an hour 45, 2 hour at the very, very, very most. You've done all your lunch for the week, and you most likely have prepped 1 or 2 meat for the week also. So if you're looking at all in time saving, if you divide that by 5, if you're looking at the actual 2 hours, 120 minutes divided by 5, if you're looking at that, the time, that's less than 30 minutes. That's not a lot when you think about that. If you're looking at cooking lunch or prepping yourself your lunch every day during the week, it's going to take you a lot more time. So time wise, I swear, if you're not saving anything by getting your things in a box or even ordering, you're not saving anything, not saving time at all. And then whatever you put in there, it's good stuff. You know that the oil you're putting in is going to be the good extra virgin olive oil, because that's what you buy for yourself. If you're buying it from a store, if you're buying from a restaurant, I can tell you they're not paying $16 for a liter of oil. If they're buying the vegetable oil, large scale, and then large amount of it, and it's obviously a lot cheaper. But then again, if you're a man or a woman that are training at eye level like I am, well, you need the best food out there, because you can never and never out-train a shitty diet. That's the main thing. So if you're looking at cooking your own stuff, well, you need to know what you're cooking itself and what's actually going into your food. That's the main thing, and that's what's extremely important about it. So big scheme of thing, saving time. You are saving a ton of time with the meal prep. If you're looking at the quality of the element, the vegetable, the oil, whatever, just down to the salt, the quality of all of that, you are the quality control. So whatever you're putting in there, it's nice, it's fresh. I'm not saying that restaurant or place that do meal will take the cheapest stuff, but we all know that vegetable oil is sure not good for testosterone. But we know that virgin and avocado oil is extremely good for testosterone. So if we buy it ourselves at the store, specialty stores, or wherever we buy it, we know we bought the good stuff. So that's what's important to remember. Plus, you're doing all this, you're drinking your coffee, no stress, right? So in this case, I'm also making, I'm going to make 2 pounds of meat that I'm going to cook for the week. That's going to be my spare meat for the week. For supper, obviously, that I'll be using. There's 2 nights, generally about twice a week if I'm in the summer or the winter. If it's in the winter, I'm actually racing on the World Series WTRL for cycling. So I have at least one race for North America on the Tuesday night, and then I probably have it on the Thursday night. I probably a training. So the nights that I'm actually racing or doing a major training event, what I'll do is I'll have some meat pre-cooked, and most likely all I'm gonna eat is gonna be an omelet with ground meat. So for the ground meats themselves, I'm using whatever comes on special. Obviously, what I'll do when I'm cooking the ground meat, very simple, is I'll cook it all up, and then when actually it's time to put it away, I'll put it through a filter and I'll get rid of all the excess fat. So if you're buying a ground meat that has a bit more fat in it, understood, not the worst of things, obviously, because it doesn't matter what you do. Once it's cooked, you'll actually take the fat out of it while it's cooking. So if the fat is out of it, you're still left with the good meat. So I want, obviously, good red meat because I'm looking for a lot of zinc. The zinc is amazing for testosterone, so you got to keep the zinc up. In the winter, obviously, you may want to take a bit of vitamin D. In the summer, if you're racing outside, or for me in the summer, I'm always outside because I have about 12 hours of training per week to do outside. So I'm not too worried about vitamin D. I know I'm spending a lot of time in the sun, so I'm not too worried. In the winter, as soon as I start going inside, it's a bit different. If I'm racing in the inside, obviously, I don't have the same amount of vitamin D. And if I'm racing cross-country skiing in the winter, my training are going to start a bit later in the day, just because I generally work in the morning from 6 to about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. By the time I get out to the park to get actually on my skis, I'll be getting out in the dark, so I am actually missing a bit of vitamin D. So I'm probably take a supplement of vitamin D on top of that. But when I'm going back to the meal prep, so I have my 2-main salad, I'm cooking up my ground meat, so I'll have my ground meat for the week. For my meat itself, that I'm going to use my proteins that are going to go into my salad. As you know, in my salad itself, on the mango, I am going with a lot of beans. There's going to be 3 cans of beans in there. Keep in mind the meal prep is for 2 people. I'm actually prepping for 2 people. And on this one, I'm doing a bit more, so I'm adding a can to everything because I'm actually prepping for 3 people because it was one of my friend's birthday this weekend. I decided to prep all his meal for him too. So if you're looking at the meal that I'm prepping today and the time that it's taken, I'm actually prepping lunches for 3 people throughout the week. Plus, I have meat for 2 of my supper for the week. So all my lunches are good to go, 100% taken care of, and my 2 suppers, the 2 nights that I have races, are good to go. So I'm looking at a total of 7 meals that I'll be able to prepare in a small amount of time. So all the veggies, I find it very relaxing too if you're doing your own meal prep, because the time that you're spending cutting your veggies and all that, it's time for yourself. And then if you're drinking your coffee, doing all that together, that 1 hour is 1 hour a piece while your partner is doing something else in the house. So obviously you may not have to clean up the house if you are doing all the meals for the week, right? I like it. I get to choose the whatever that goes in there. So when I'm actually going to the grocery and buying all of this, I know exactly what I'm buying, and I'm buying very similar throughout every week because I'm going for high testosterone food and very low estrogen food. So anything that goes into my meal or my meal prep is going to be high testosterone. If you're thinking about keeping all your high testosterone food or high energy food plus high vitamin food together, then that's a lot easier when you're prepping all your meals because you're not really worried that much about the quantity. Because if there's a bit too much protein into your diet, not a huge problem, right? Because your body's actually going to get rid of the excess protein. If you don't use it, it'll get rid of it. So it's all pretty well low carb, a lot of veggies, a lot of vitamins, and obviously the bit of a red meat here and there, a bit of breast, a chicken breast. That's also part of the meal plan for the week. So for my dinner, as you notice, in total for the 2 salads that you see there, there's actually 5 cans of beans. Keep in mind that's 5 cans of beans. That's not for myself. It's for 3 people. So my partner plus one of my friends, because this week I'm doing meal prep for him too. So when you're looking at the amount of beans, the amount of proteins that are in there, plus the 2 chicken legs that are going to be for my rice salad. Oh, just a point to note that I gotta tell you, when I'm doing a meat like that, like a chicken or a ground beef or any other type of those meats, what I'm making sure is that meat itself, I'm not putting it inside the same bowl as my cold veggies. So I don't want any cross contaminations, and it's gonna last a lot longer. So I'm gonna get all my mango salad all together. I'm not adding any other protein to that because that's already jam packed with protein. 100% good to go. I have my rice salad on the other side, which is gonna be a rice with black olive, and I also have 1 can of beans in there, and then a bit of cheese. If I'm looking at that, I really like a bit more protein into it, so I'm gonna have a couple of chicken legs that I'm gonna use as my actual chicken in there, and that's gonna be the base for my protein when I'm looking at that exact salad. So if I'm looking at my salad from the start, I'm looking at rice, a couple of carrots in there, a bit of broccoli, and then I have a can of bean. I'm gonna have some cheese. I can put some goat cheese, whatever cheese I want, just so for the taste. And then I'm gonna have my chicken. But my chicken, like I said, I'm gonna get it all cooked and it's gonna go in a different bowl. So the day that I'm actually leaving with for my meal prep is I'm gonna add my chicken into that bowl. So because I don't want to have like something that's not cooked in the bowl and then adding potentially a chicken that's cooked later, because I want my ingredients to stay like even more liquid meat within their own container for longer, because I want the taste to last the longest as possible, because I'm actually doing this on a Sunday afternoon, so it's gotta last for the last meal is gonna be 5 days later, so I want to make sure it's still good. So Jake's trying to get some food, obviously. Jake, his main purpose every Sunday when he knows I'm getting ready to do meal prep, his main hangout is just below the table, and he's just waiting for something to fall. And if that thing falls, a piece of carrot, anything, even some onions, he doesn't like onions at all. He'll be jumping on it like a shark. He's got to feed off it. So for all my ingredients, if I'm looking at all my ingredients like that, I'm always going to try to separate my meat, and I'll add the meat the day of, or the morning of, or the night of, and then so it's separated a bit longer. So for my actual rice salad, I'm gonna also add, because I like it, I like the bacon bits. I buy those at Costco. I am For a meal prep, I wouldn't bother cooking some bacon on the stove. You're trying to do all of this. If you want from start to finish, for the time you wake up or you start doing this to the time you're cleaned up, everything's in the fridge, everything's put away, dishes put away. What my goal is under 2 hours. So if I have to take a shortcut like buying bacon and bacon bits in a bag, and I'm going to use that for my meal prep, I'm ready to sacrifice that, because I know for myself the meal that I'm going to be cooking myself with the ingredients that I know is going to be a lot better than me going to a big shop and getting some fast food. So I'm ready to cut corners on a few things to make sure that I have my meal prep ready. So I'm ready to cut corners in order to every week be able to carry on and do the same thing. Keep in mind in the process when you're doing through all of this is you have to be able to sustain this type of training or this type of activity for a long period of time. If you want to perform at a high level, if you want to race like national wide or something, even when you're older, like I'm 50 and I'm racing with guys that are in their 30s, 25, 30s. You even had a junior on my race a couple of weeks ago. Kid's 18 years old and he's racing with a 50-year-old guy. You have to be able to do it for a very long period of time. A lot of diets are actually awesome, like a keto diet works magic. The problem is to do 100% keto diet for 10 years of your life, geez, it's impossible. So you have to pick your fight, and sometimes you have to pick where you're going to cut corners in order, I don't want to say cut corners, but where you're going to take it a bit easier in order to do it for a longer amount of time. So the amount of time that you'll do it is better than stopping your workout at all, 100%, and being off. So I'd rather cut a bit corners on my meal prep, make sure that I'm actually doing, a good job at meal prep for the week, than going full out and spending 4 hours a week to do meal prep, because that's not gonna work, because I'm not gonna do it. In the long run, I'll do it maybe for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, but you're not gonna do it for 10 years. And if you're young, if you're in your 30s and you're starting to get in shape and you're starting to get healthy and you want to perform and you want to be, gaining muscle and then losing weight and being top of your form, you have to make it into your schedule, and it's got to be something feasible that you're able to do for a long amount of time. So you got to be able to maintain that day in, day out for 5, 6, 10, 20 years. That's the key to success. It's a success in everything, in investing. You're investing into yourself, and thinking that you're going to go on this hardcore diet for 20 years is just crazy. Where you got family, you got people coming over, oh man, you don't feel good, you're going to find yourself a reason to stop. People tell me sometimes, I'll never quit. People don't quit. Nobody wants to quit, but you'll find yourself a reason to quit. And that's what you want to do in a meal. You want to make it easy and something that's doable every week, even if you're going out for us in the summer, even in the winter, pretty well every goddamn weekend we have a race. A race day in, day out. There's a race almost every weekend. If it's not every second weekend, there's a race. So if every time I go away, if I go to the New York State or the Maine for a race, if I go anywhere for a race, and I'm coming back on the Sunday, I'm going to come back late. If it takes me 4 hours to do my meal prep, do you think after a weekend of racing, I'm going to go and do a 4 hours meal prep? No, I'm not, because I'm burnt and I got to put my stuff away. So if I'm trying to do my meal prep within an hour and a half to 2 hours, well, I'm thinking, it doesn't matter. If I come down from the States and I'm racing, or if I go anywhere and I'm racing and I'm tired and I get home at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, oh Jesus, I got to make my lunches. Well, if it only takes me 2 hours to do it, or an hour and a half to do them, well, boom, I can still do that. But if you make it too complicated for yourself and you're making your own almond milk, because I have a juicer, I got all that equipment, and if you're making your own almond milk, if you're doing everything keto, if you're doing all of this, well, it sounds good, but you're just not going to do it for 10 years. So that's the key. The key to everything is that. Same thing for all my friends. Like I have a few friends, obviously. Let's say that I am pretty well at 50 years old. I'm probably the oldest in the team, and let's say I'm one of the top 4 or 5 in the team. The other guys are a lot better. Are they better because they're obviously putting more time into training? They're probably, I don't know if they're feeding themselves better, but they're actually putting more time into training. But for me to be able to sustain this type of life, I can't really do more than 12 hours of training a week. I can't really take more than 2 hours to do my meal prep a week. I'm already have a pretty high-end job, and I'm already working, a good 40 to 50 hours a week. Pretty high tempo job, which requires a lot of effort. So if you're looking at high tempo jobs, 12 hours of training minimum of a week, plus everything else that comes around that, the friends, everybody texting you, a bit of business on the side, doing some video for a YouTube channel, trying to help out other people getting in shape. If you're doing all of that, obviously it's time consuming. So I have to make sure that it's doable for a long amount of time, and I can do it for a long amount of time. So that's why the meal prep that you'll see, or any of the recipe you see on the channel, they're nice and simple, and they're fairly easy. They're fairly easy for that one reason, and that one reason only, because you got to make it really easy so it lasts. So that's what the main point is. So whatever recipe you see, whatever things you want to try to do, you have to keep in mind that if you train for 2 years and you don't get hurt once from your 2 years, I can guarantee you that your performance is still going to go up for all that time, and you're still going to be at the top, international or national level wise, no problem. You're going to be able to do it for a very long amount of time. If you're going to the Olympics or you're one step above, obviously you're gonna have to. It's going to be a full-time job. But if you just want to be healthy and you want to stay at the national level and eat well and walk around and 8 to 10% body fat, if that's what your goal and feel good with yourself, well, you got to pick a way of living and a way of feeding yourself that's going to be able to be continuous for a long amount of time. So that's one thing that you got to remember when you're selecting what you're going to do for meal prep. Is that something I can do every weekend? Doesn't matter if I have to go somewhere. Doesn't matter if I got company coming. Can I do this every weekend? And if you can do it and it's easy for you, you're going to keep on doing it. It's like anything in sport. If it's easy, if it's convenience, you're going to go to the gym. If the gym's on your way to work, you're going to stop and go to the gym. If you've got yourself a gym pass at a gym that's 45 minutes away from your place, well, guess what? You're going to go for a month and then eventually you'll stop. So meal prep is the same way. Got to make sure you get all your stuff done and, within a couple of hours, and you get yourself going. If you're planning your meal prep, one easy way to do it is on the weekend. Generally, for what I do is I look at the flyers, and basically I look what's on the flyers, and then I can see what's going to be on special, and then on the Friday afternoon, generally what I'll do is just after I finish work, I'll go and buy the meats. I'm generally trying to get at least 2 meat for the week, depending on what it is. And obviously, if you're staying home for the weekend, the food for the weekend. But in the meal prep itself, what I'll do is I'll look at whatever's on special, and then I'll obviously stock up on what's on special. So if chicken legs on special, the week after, part of my meal, obviously I'm gonna have the chicken leg. Same thing with the chicken breast, and goes on and so forth, And then that's how I plan the actual week of food. So by doing that, you're probably saving $10-15 a week on your meals themselves. If you divide them all up, generally for me, I believe it's below $5 a meal altogether. So, and then on top of it, keeping in mind that there's 2 of us eating on it, so it's only a couple of dollars per meal. Then again, when you're looking at a large salad for lunch, as an example, it's not very expensive. A couple of cans of bean, rice, large bag of rice can last you, a month for $18. So that's fairly easy. The most expensive is probably the consumable, like the extra virgin olive oils and the rest of it. But all in all, you'll need it anyway for the rest of your feeding during the week. So the actual food itself, fairly inexpensive, and then it's a lot easier to do. So what I'm trying to say is very simple. Is the amount of money you can save, it's worth it to do your meal prep. It's also worth it to do your meal prep because you know exactly what's in it. So, and then on top of it, you're saving on time. So you're saving on money. It's better for you, and you're also saving on time. And then when you have your meals already ready for the week, you're not gonna go and stop in a large box store or in a fast food place, even, because your meals are done for the week, so you're not gonna waste them. You're gonna eat them. That's the best part of all of it. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a large, basically a soup, and then I'll use my soup as a filler for depending on different meals that I'm gonna do during the weekend. So I'll always have a soup ready on standby. I'll have my ground meat, which is cooked, that I'll have ready on standby for if I gotta work late or for I'm doing a race or something special that night. Then I already have those meals. So there's potentially maybe 2 nights during the week that I'll actually have to cook myself a real supper. So and then I can use, obviously, I can do a stir fry and all that. For the supper, that's not too bad. And keeping in mind, you only have to do a couple during the week. All your lunch are ready, and then for breakfast, I always kind of eat the same thing. I'll either eat, peanut butter toast early in the morning, or what I always, well, pretty well do 99% of the time is gonna be overnight oat. Overnight oat, you can eat oat every day. Oat is great for you. So I use the gluten-free oat right now, and the oat that I use is the one that's the less refined as possible. So it's got a bit less carb, and that's why I use it for. For my ground meat, I don't know if you noticed, but what I'll do is a couple of times during the time that I'm cooking it, I'll make sure that I add what I do. I use my homemade rub. The homemade rub is also one of the things that you'll see on the cooking channel itself. I have two types of homemade rub. One's more of a barbecue rub. That's what I use in my ground meat because it's already tasty that way. So I've already got my ground meat tastes like barbecue. So you can fit it with pretty well anything that you want, and then you'll have a great tasting ground meat. So the homemade barbecue rub, like I say, it's another place where you can save a lot of money. I make all my own rub. You can make, if you buy all the ingredients for making the rub, you'll be able, across probably about $20, but you'll be able to make about 4 or 5 times the amount for that price. So if you buy a bottle of pre-made rub, which is going to be around the $15, you can probably make for about $60 with just the homemade stuff. And then obviously the only thing that's not as convenient is I put it in the large bowl, and then it's a lot harder to pour. But if you have one of those shakers, then you could put in one of those shakers. That'd be the same. For my the bowls that I use, I always try to use stuff that's not plastic. At least if you're gonna put in a microwave, I never microwave any plastic. If you guys ever heard about a plastic, it's called the BPA into plastic. BPA is not good at all for testosterone. It's not good at all for you. It's not actually good at all for anyone. So any of those meal that come in those cheap plastic containers probably contains BPA. So you really want to stay away from any of those plastics. So I will not eat anything that was microwaved in a plastic container, obviously. So all my containers that I have are basically, other than the one that obviously put my rub and a few things, but if it's going to be cooking, if I'm going to use it for anything hot, it's going to be non-BPA plastic. So that's a must. Anything that you put in the microwave, it's got to be a non-BPA plastic. Keep that in mind. Don't microwave anything that's got BPA. Don't cook with anything that's got BPA in it. And you'll see when you buy containers, you buy your meal prep containers, try to get something, a glass container, or try to make sure that the plastic, if it is plastic, that is proof, BPA proof. There is no BPA in it. So if you're not sure, just buy a glass container with plastic lid. That's probably the safest way. And then if you look at the big bowls that I have for the salad, then again, they're metal bowl, and I do have a plastic lid, but all my cooking is going to be done in the metal bowl. So a few things I'll keep in plastic container in the fridge. Obviously, I'll have my butter in a plastic container. I got a few things in plastic container, but I'm sure not going to put anything in the microwave that is going to have plastic can contain BPA. So into my meal prep, I'm going to make my large soup. This one is a poivron leek soup with sweet potato. First thing I'll do is I'll put some butter in it. I'm the equivalency about 2-3 tablespoons, and I'm gonna warm that butter up, and I'm also gonna put some. So I'll put the garlic in it. I'll get that warmed up, and then the next thing I'm gonna use, obviously, I got the sweet potato, I got the leek, and then it's gonna be my chicken broth. How do I get my chicken broth? You can buy chicken broth already in a small container. Use the one that's got the less salt in it, or you can make your own. Once in a while, what I'll do is on the weekend is I'll cook 2 old chicken, and then those 2 old chickens, I'll just cook them up, and then I'll save the chicken broth from there, and I'll put in a couple of containers, and then I'll probably have chicken broth for 2 or 3 recipes, just like that. If you ever run out, or if you haven't done any old chicken in a while, then obviously you're gonna have to buy some fairly cheap, and then that's fairly easy to do. And then whatever you're missing, you can add more water. So for the poivre or the leek, they're fairly cheap when they're in season in the fall. You can get 5 large ones for about $3, and then you can go a long way. You can make a lot of recipe for it with that. Quite a bit of volume onto that, and then that's always nice. It's a nice veggie that I like to use, and I use it a lot in the fall. Obviously, same thing with any of the fall vegetable. When they come in season, they're fairly cheap, so it's a good time to cook them. And in it, it's different to eat something different with the season. It's always nice to come back with the recipes. And for the leech itself, what's good about it is it's quite voluminous, but it's also really tasty, and it's very very nice and tasty. So when I'm doing this, when I'm cutting my leech, the first part I'll cut out on the white side, and then on the green I go about 1/3 of the green where it starts to be not as hardened, and that's what I'll keep to do my recipe. So as my recipe goes in, then I get quite a bit of volume. As you can see, for my meat, that's what I use to take all the fat out. So I'll bring that like that, and then I'll take all the fat out of it. So once my butter is nice and ready to go, that's when I'll put everything in, and I'll just stir that up, get it all warmed up, all tasty with the butter. And once I'm happy with that, that's when I'll add my chicken broth. And then for the cooking time for that, it's quite long actually. It's something that you want to let cook for a long time. So that's one of the things I'll do as part of my meal prep. As soon as I'm done with cooking all my meat, I'll start, if I'm doing a soup or if I'm doing anything else to go with my meals, I'll start with that, and I'll put that up. So this one takes a good 40 minutes to cook. So you'll leave it like that a good 40 minutes, and then you let it sit for probably, before you're able to put it away, probably the last thing you'll do. And until your meal prep, you'll clean everything up, you'll put everything away, and the last thing we'll do when it's not as warm, then you'll be able to put that away, and that'll be your soup for the week, which you'll be able to use, maybe not as a meal because it's not that it doesn't have that much into it, but for sure as a side dish. And if you're in a big hurry, if you're doing something that night, an event or something like that, then maybe what you'll have to do is you'll probably just eat a peanut butter toast or something like I do, and then maybe a soup, and then you'll go on to the event just like that. Depending on what type of event, sometimes you'll need, for in my case, if it's going to be a bike race or something like that. We do have on Tuesday night, we do have bike races. In the summer, we have bike races. There's the Multilation, there's a few bike races around on the Tuesday night. And then generally what I'll need to do is I'll need to eat something fairly consistent at about 3 or 4 o'clock during the day if the race is going to be at 6 o'clock. So a couple of hours before I eat something that's going to need to give me enough energy to go through the race. So I'll eat that 2 hours before the race, and then generally what I'll do is I'll eat a soup, or I'll eat some eggs, or another thing that I will do a lot is my breakfast that I use, my overnight oat. Instead of the day that I have a race, I'll make 2, and I'll have one for the morning, and I'll have one at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock, a couple of hours before, and that'll just basically will give me the power. The last thing you want to do is have a big day of work. For me, I'm in at 6, so from 6 out of there by 2:30, 3 o'clock. Once you're out of there at that time, you've already got a long amount of time. And if your race is going to be at 6 that night, that's 12 hours. You need to put something consistent into your body in order to be efficient during that race and being able to perform up to a certain level. It's like fuel into a car. If you don't put any fuel, eventually it stops and it doesn't work anymore. And obviously, if you're an athlete, or if you've been training the rest for all your life, what you're looking at is obviously, if you've bunked once before, the feeling of bunking. It's sure not the best, and then that's where you got to put food in order to be able to expand. So energy, When I'm doing the race, the carb, a lot of people are against carb because it does transform into sugar if you don't use it. But it's one of those things that if you need fuel, that's a great place to fuel up, right? With the right amount of carbs. Obviously, I don't weigh my food as per se, but I have preset quantity that I know that I can go through, and I know that I need that amount of food. And I also know with the equipment that I have, I got a wow for and I have a Garmin also, and I know obviously how much calorie I spend at every training exercise. So it's fairly easy for me to know if I go in a race or something, I burn 2,000 calories. I know I gotta put 2,000 in. If I know I want to lose a bit of weight, well, it's the same equation again. You gotta be you gotta be deficient. So in calorie deficiency, and then obviously calorie deficiency, then you lose a bit of weight. Then again, generally, if you're starting a racing season, you should be at the right weight anyway. So, and the last thing I'll do for the meal prep is basically clean up everything, and then that's when, once I got pretty well everything ready, I'll start putting together my meals and my bowls. Like I said, all my bowls I try to use is going to be if I'm going to be cooking or anything like that, it's going to be a glass bowl. And that's what I'll try and I'll prep, and I'll divide all my meals to start with for the first 2 days. I'll get those all packaged and into the right amount of bowls and the right size. If obviously for the later in the week, I'll leave them in the larger bowl, and then I'll just as of the Tuesday night or the Wednesday, I'll start making for the rest of the week. So I'll be making on the Thursday night, or on the Wednesday night, I'll be making the food for the Thursday and the Friday, and then completing that, and I'll complete the week with that, and then make any adjustment if I need be. Obviously, my partner does eat also, and because she works from home, once in a while she'll eat a bit more than normal. So it does happen on the Thursday night sometimes that even if we do meal prep, there's one of us that's out of a lunch for the Friday, so we got to readjust and make sure that we get it all right. But at least 90% of our meals are done. So the last thing I do is I mix everything together, and then I put away into a smaller package, so I can actually, they're ready. I got 2 days of food that are ready in a larger bowl. I got the rest of the food that I can divide for the rest of the week. Obviously, that's a lot of container, and then for the size of the fridge, sometimes it's hard to fit everything else, because keep in mind that we still have, during the week, I still have 3 suppers to make, so that's quite a bit of food also that we need to do. So I got all my breakfast done, I got all my lunches done, and then 2 of my suppers always done. So I have 3 suppers that I need to do. So you see the speed that I'm actually working. I'm not working overly fast. I'm not running. I'm not going all over the place, and not everything is prepped. So I'm going back, washing my hands, cleaning stuff, and all of this. And that's why I'm doing this video with this length and this speed, just to show you guys that it is doable without running or without jogging around and without being stressed. To do your meal prep within 2 hours, in and out, clean the place, clean. You're sitting on the couch checking out the news on your tablet, on your computer. It's easy to do. You don't need to do anything. Fairly easy to do, and I'm just walking around very slow speed. I'm not rushing to anything, and then I'm getting all my meal prep done. So for the soup itself, it's good to mix it around a good time, and when it's at the right, just bring it down to the lowest and just let it sit for as long as you can to make it go away. So put away all your meat and stuff, and then that's when you start dividing your portion for the week. The good thing with having portions, and I have a small scale, and I used to weigh some of my food, but if you divide in the right amount of portion, the right size portion, and then you always go and you feed yourself, you put the fuel back in with the same amount of portion, it seems like, it's funny to me, but it seems like my stomach shrink, and gets into the habit of eating that size portion. And that's really what helped me controlling my weight, is having the right portion. Before, you get used to those portions, I can tell you one thing, is that I was hungry as hell. Because when I start weighing my food and figure out how much I needed to weigh to be not calorie deficient, but just for my case, my calorie is already good to go. I'm already sitting at about 10% body fat, which I'm extremely happy. I don't feel I need to go any more than that, because if I go any lower, it seems like I am losing power. And then since I'm a bit of a puncher, and I'm not that skinny, and I'm more muscular than most of the guys I race with. That's what the puncher is. I need to eat a certain amount of food, and I don't need to be that skinny. It's obviously gonna be bad for climbing up hills, but nothing that's bad enough. I know it's gonna be harder for me for those small sections, but I also know that I will not run out of gas. And the last thing you want to do is run out of gas and bunk. If you bunk, you guys all know, if you bunk, you're out for a couple of days. It takes a bit of time for your system to get back in, and because you get in trouble, and obviously that's how you bunk. So as you can see, like I told you before, I'm just doing my own stuff at my own time. And then I'm gonna go into my mango salad. If you've seen a recipe on the channel, I'm using some herbamar, and with the herbamar, very simple. Put it in, taste as you go. Obviously, the skid that I'm doing here for the meal prep, I wasn't planning on teaching you how to make this stuff. I was more or less trying to tell you how important it is to start meal prep. If that's the key, if you start doing your meal prep, and you will not go to a restaurant, you will not go to the food places, you will not grab the garbage stuff. You'll just, whatever you've done, that's what you're gonna eat. And if you get into this mechanism, if you get into this habit, trust me, if you get in the habit of doing your own meals, you're gonna, as soon as you get going, you're gonna love it, and you're gonna feel so much better, because you're gonna have so much more energy. It is amazing, and the food that you're putting into yourself is gonna be the best food, because you're gonna select it yourself. And then I said it probably a million times to everybody I train with, is you can never out-train a shitty diet. Full stop. Think about that. Every time you put something in your mouth, you think about, you can never out-train a shitty diet. You can never out-train a shitty diet. I'm not saying to be, your body's a temple. That's not what I'm saying. On the Friday night, if you decide that you're having a beer with your friend, damn, have a beer with your friend. If you're going to eat a chip here and there, because I do eat chip once in a while, and I love chips, eat it. If that's what makes you happy in life, do it. But if you're able to know that 95% of your meal through the week are good to go, 100% good for you, that is huge. That is a big step forward to healthy, long-lasting living. If you can do that, long-lasting living, healthy living, that's what you gotta go for, man. That's the goal. That's what you gotta do. Do it for a long period of time. So say that every time you're thinking about something, eating something, every time you stop in the drive-thru and you're starving, you don't know what to do. Think about this one thing. You can never out-train a shitty diet, and that will probably prevent you from eating something bad. By the way, if you're gonna go to a drive-thru, or if you're gonna go anywhere, pick a bagel with butter. Don't do anything else. Or just something that's I don't know, fries. But it's hard. There is absolutely nothing that's good for you. It's horrible. It's horrible. You try to pick the less evil when you're starving, but that's the best you can do is get. And then obviously stopping at a grocery store and grabbing some fruit, not the most convenience, and even more if you're going with a bunch of people. They'll be wondering why the hell you're not grabbing something at a drive-thru. But so try to pick whatever you can, and then if your meal's already ready, then it's you show up. Like I've shown up to a golf game with my little bags with my food, with bags of vegetable. And people kind of look, but then again they understand. And when they look at the shape and your shape and you're built, they're looking, okay, well, yeah, this guy's taking care of himself. That's what it is. And then the same thing, and for them, if they look at themselves in the mirror and, they have little boobies, they have man boobs, as we can say, and a little beer belly, well, then that's what they eat. You look like what you eat. And if you go to a golf game and you show up with your little meal and your little food and your spoon and stuff, people can laugh at you. Well, they can, but then again, when you look at them, you can laugh at them too. That's your choice. That's your choice. And if you're just starting to train, if you're just starting to get back into it, or if you're younger guy in mid-20s or early 30s, and you're just trying to think what you could change, because the boosted testosterone, you can do all kinds of stuff. Okay, let's face it, but there are certain things that you control and certain things that you don't control. The one thing to boost testosterone is sleep. You need to sleep 8 hours a night. Understand that you should be able to control, because you can decide not to watch TV. It's your choice not to watch TV. It's your choice to go to bed early. If you're working 2 jobs, okay, maybe, but every spare time should be for you to sleep. So aim for 8 hours a night. Goal 1, boost testosterone, sleep 8 hours a night. The goal 2 to boost testosterone is to reduce your amount of stress in your life. Well, that one is probably not the easiest one. There's not much you can do with your life partner if things are not going well, if things are not going well at work, if things are not going well with the money. That is all stress factor. Those are harder to prevent. But that's number 2. Number 3 is the food that you put into your mouth. Okay? So there's 2 out of those 3. There's 2 you can definitely do. You can control your sleep. Boom, that one is done. Controlling the stress, okay, put that one aside. If there's nothing you can really do about it, okay, let that one go for a bit. Number 3 is your food. Well, you can control your food. You can control your food because I've proved it to you right now. Within an hour and 7 or 8 minutes, you're going to have all those meal prep. I didn't run around. I just cooked my little chicken, started that. First thing I did, started the chicken, did my 2 salad, cooked my ground meat, and did a big old soup that's going to last me through the week. So I was able to do all of that in a Sunday afternoon, all of that, and by using my coupons and by going to the grocery store on Friday and getting everything on special. So if I can get all that done, I've cleared out number 1 is sleep. Number 2, I'll let that go for a bit. Number 3 is my food. And then number 4 is my training schedule. So if I got out of those 4 things, there's 2 that I know I can control fairly easy. The third one is my training schedule. Well, your training schedule is going to be what you aim to do. You got to put yourself small goals, short time goal. And then what do you want to do in your training schedule? Do you want to train to do that first marathon in your life? Do you want to train to do your first Ironman in your life? Do you want to train to be part of a local team? Do you want to train to be going to the national team? Do you want to race North American level? I don't know. But that's what you got to put yourself down. You got to give yourself some goals. So if that's what you're going to aim for, and that's what you're going to put the time. If you're training to national level, well, the minimum you're going to have to do is a good 12 hours of training into your sport a week. That's guaranteed. And if you're trying to get anywhere past that, you're looking at 20 hours plus and then the 30 hour plus, and then it's a full-time job. But 8 hours of sleep a night, try to control your stress, and the third one is the food that you put into your mouth. Well, that you can control, and then the other one is the training. And obviously it's all about small gains, depending on where you want to go. For me, like I said, I'm over 50 and I'm still at the national level. Pretty happy with that. Not a lot of 50-year-old dude on the start line when I go. So I'm pretty happy. And I'm fine with that. And that's all good. And I'm not planning on going anywhere past that. And I'm just hoping to stay there until the later I can. And that's the way it is. And then everybody that sees me going around, they're going, damn, who the hell is this guy? But it's no secret. I just try to eat as well as I can. And then, try to sleep my 8 hours a night. Actually, I don't try to sleep my 8 hours a night. I do sleep my 8 hours. I'm in my bed for a minimum of 9 hours. So book that timing under your schedule, into bed for at least 9 hours. You're most likely gonna sleep eight out of them, and if you're lucky, maybe a bit more. But the fact with the sleep is you gotta sleep it, otherwise you can't recoup. So your body will not fix itself more the next day. So if you get a shitty sleep of 5 hours, even if you sleep 9 hours the day after, it means nothing, because your body didn't recoup the night before. It's not compounding, it doesn't add up. You got to do every night. A big training session, put some fuel back into the system, and then put some sleep back into your system. And then obviously the next day, put food again into your system and go back again. As you see in the video, I'm adding some extra virgin olive oil on my rice, because what happened when you're doing meal prep, and I'm going to be eating my rice on the Thursday, Friday. So I'm adding the oil on my rice. You're going to say, what the hell are you doing that? It's because by the time it gets to the Thursday, keep in mind now it's a fourth day that the salad's going to be done. So it's now at 4 days. If I'm adding extra virgin olive oil onto my rice and mix it all up together, is my rice won't be as dry. It won't be, when you're going to eat it, it's actually going to taste, and it's still going to be soft a bit. So that's quite an important trick that you'll notice when you start doing meal prep. Week in, week out, I've been doing meal prep for a long time now. So week in and week out, the small little things like that will make a difference. And then if the food is still good on the Wednesday, you're going to want to eat it. If the food's still good on the Thursday, you're going to want to eat it. On a Friday, it's your last day of the week. Well, do what you got to do. But if it still tastes good, you're going to be happy about it. And that's the main thing. And then you'll see I stay away from sauce. I do as little sauce as I can. So very, very small amount of sauce. So it's more or less the ingredient that I use that's going to be the sauce. Like the small tomatoes, or that's got some juice into it. That's what going to be the bit of the sauce. Same thing with the mango. And I always try to have my avocado quite soft. So that's also part of the sauce. And when I mix it together, it's the actual ingredients which will get the taste. Bit of salt, not a lot. Some pepper, and then if I need to add anything else, I'll add some more. But for the amount, for the size of my salad, it's going to be a little bit of salt. Obviously, a little bit of sauce. Obviously, when you go to a restaurant and things like that, it's the other way around. I know a few of my friends are great chefs, and they told me a million times it's the only way that you want it to taste like a restaurant is you got to be generous on the butter and the sauce. So they do in their food add a lot of sauce for taste, but the problem with taste, it's a lot of sugar also that they're adding. So anytime you eat in a restaurant, it's got a lot of butter. Butter's not so bad because if you're right in the bit of keto, you can deal with the butter. Your body can deal with the butter, but no one can deal with the sugar. The sugar, if you don't burn it, it just goes into storage, and you know what happens when it goes into storage. It goes into storage. If you're a guy, it goes around your gut. If you're a girl, it goes around your bum or other places. But if you're storing sugar, you know what happens? It stores around the wrong places. And then that's extra weight that you do not need to carry going up the hill. You do not need to carry anywhere you go. So you're trying to eat as little sugar as you can. For me, I have 0 sugar in my house. 0. The only sugar that I have really is going to be, I have some honey that I've put in a few recipes, and I have some maple syrup that I've put in a few recipes. There's actually no sugar to cook anything, and you do not need any white sugar for any of my recipes. 0 sugar. You don't need sugar. If you're gonna do anything with sugar, for me, like I'll use dates, I'll use things like that. That's gonna make it taste, but it's always gonna be either natural sugar or something like that. So I'm almost done my meal prep now. I'm trying to get my containers done. I'll have the larger containers, which will contain the equivalency of 2 salads. for storage wise into the fridge. So it'll be like a day for 2 people, which we'll divide in half the night before. That's basically for storage itself. And then, like I said before, all my meat is always going to be in their own container. And same thing with my chicken. I'm going to get that chicken prepped, but it's all going to be in the same container. So ground meat's going to be in its own container. My chicken's going to be in its own container, and that's going to be divided. My salads, I'm going to do the salads in the smaller, like 1-person storage container for the Monday and the Tuesday, just for storage when it watch into the fridge for the 2 of us. So Monday and Tuesday, both meals are going to be 100% done. So on the Sunday when I'm done, when it's stacked, they're in order. The first 2 to go are going to be Monday, and then after that, it'll be Tuesdays for me and my partner, and then we're both going to have the first 2 days are going to be 100% ready, good to go. The larger container, like you see right in front of you in the video, they actually hold salad for 2 people. So on the Tuesday night, we'll divide that for the Wednesday, and then we'll do the same thing. Take half of it out, and that's for storage wise. We could have an extra 2 containers in the fridge, but it's just a matter of juggling around. Plus, we always use the glass containers, so they do take a bit more space, and I don't stack them as high as I would with plastic. So if you're looking at storage wise, the glass container, and then I'll have the 2 large for the Thursday, Friday, and then for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be in the smaller containers, pretty well all ready to go. And then I'll have my container for my meat. That'll be the meat if I have meat that are going into my salad, and then I'll have extra meat for at least cooked up for 2 of my suppers. And then the rest of the fridge will be filled with whatever my suppers are going to be for the week. So another 4, maybe the Monday night I'll have in there, and then I'll have the Wednesday night in there, and I'll have the Friday night in there. So I'll have those up, and like I said again, generally on the Friday afternoon I'll go do grocery. I try to go to grocery only once a week, and I generally able to do so because by doing meal prep pretty well, everything that you've used up and you've prepared on the Sunday. So that makes it easy and makes it really helpful when you're doing your prepping of the meal itself. The good thing about doing meal prep also is once you're done doing your meal prep, you're not hungry because you do eat the extra carrots, anything that falls off. And that's one good thing that we don't have to clean up the house so much, and then you don't have to be hungry once you're done. When it's time to go for lunch or supper, you're already kind of stuffed because you spent an hour or 2 prepping food, which is good. And then every week try to do something different and try to make it different a bit. So what happens with that is you get used to a certain amount of food, and then by doing that also what's good is you always have new food that you eat. So that's really, really good, and it makes it for a lot more fun too through the week. So the message on this is very simple, is that try to get yourself into a routine that you will be able to do meal prep every week. And I hope within the last hours that we've talked about, that I was able to kind of make you understand how important it is to get your stuff ready. And then once we get tired once in a while. I do get tired too, and I do have a lot of energy, obviously, because of the food that I eat. But I do get tired once in a while, and if it's not done for you, and if you give yourself a way out, you'll take it. And I'm not better than anybody else. I take my way out every time I get a chance, but I'm trying to set up myself for success by prepping it before. So I have no reason to give myself a way out. I've taught on so many courses, and I've seen through different selections and different things, so many people saying to me, like, I will not quit, Staff. Well, that's all good, saying I will not quit. I'd love to believe you, but they always find a reason to quit. There's only 1 or 2% that will actually not quit. They'll find a reason to quit. My knee hurts, or my elbow hurt. Oh, I would have done it, but there's no but. Don't give yourself a reason to quit. That's where you start quitting, is when you start giving yourself a reason to quit. So if you don't want to quit, prepare yourself, make yourself 100% good to go. Make it easy for yourself. Make it easy for yourself to feed yourself. Make it easy for yourself to go to the gym. I said it before. If your gym is too far, you will not go. Find yourself a training partner that works with you, that's close to you, that has the same schedule as you. Even if he's not the greatest guy, or he's not your friend that much, if you both on the same schedule, there's no reason why you're not going. If it's on your way home, there's no reason why you're not going. You have to take the time to do this, and then you gotta do it. And then even if you go to the gym for 45 minutes, or if you work out at your place for 45 minutes, that 45-minute workout is a workout that you've done. Simple as that. Same thing with your meal. Those meals that you've prepped, those meals are meals that you have prepped for yourself. So every good meal that you've prepped for yourself is one good meal that you eat. Same thing, every workout that you've done is one good workout that you've done. So even if that workout is 45 minutes, that's already 45 minutes more than you would have got if you didn't go. So that's basically it. So I hope you liked it. It was a long stretch for me to do, over an hour, but I've tried to make it that you see meal prep from beginner, from start to finish, and how simple it is. And then I see it as I'm walking around, no stress, drinking some coffee, getting my stuff ready, closing my bowls up, getting the girls to mess around with me, and putting all my stuff away, cleaning as we go. And then I've done my meal from start to finish. If you, obviously the video is only an hour and 7, but it was an actual hour and 30 because I did wash and cut my veggies before, but I was able also to clean at the same time. And then you see, in an hour and 7 minutes or so, we have a full meal prep. Hope you guys start doing it. See you guys soon. Thanks.